So today we're going to do quite a special little session. We're going to do uh, tips and tricks to time management.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
all right. And I think that's important for everybody, right? No matter which field of work you're from, time
yeah.
management is crucial.
Yes, it's so crucial, and I don't only think it's for workers. I feel like if students, if you're a college student and you're watching, if you're a school student, you know that we need to manage our time as efficiently as possible, and we often struggle with it. So today is just some tips that you can keep while you need to manage your time and you have many projects aligned and you don't know how to get it done within your deadline. So yeah.
All right, coach. So I want to personally ask you this, since the topic is
Of
revolving
course.
around time management.
Hmm.
Why do people usually waste time? Like, why?
Oh, there are so many reasons. I feel like personally, I waste time because I think that, it is from the habit of doing things last minute. I know that I can get this done in, in just an hour. And, this habit that is created is what makes me waste time and not do things according to a schedule, if that makes any sense. So I think
And
that's a problem we all face.
isn't that the definition of procrastination as well? Doing things at the last minute, keeping
Yes.
things
Yes, like we say, it's the art of procrastination.
right.
That's exactly what it is, and we just leave it for the last minute. And what are the problems that arise from this? Your work gets ruined, it gets compromised, and just the quality deteriorates. And for example, if we're in a job and we've been given a project and there's a deadline, your boss knows that you did this in 1 hour, you did this the night before. You can compare the difference. So that's why we need to keep these tips and tricks in mind.
Right, right.
Right.
Okay, so I think let's just get into it, right, coach? Let's
Yes.
get into the.
Yes.
Sure, sure. Let's
Be Before we
let's
get
start.
into it, guys,
Okay.
please remember, we're here to answer your questions. We're not just here to blabber. Me and Ananya are here at your service. So any questions, please put it down in the comment section and we will answer everything that's relevant. Okay. So I think we should start. Okay.
Right,
So
right.
number one, when we are trying to manage time, number one, remember that time management is a myth. That's the first pointer.
Okay. But coach, isn't myth something which is not true? I mean,
Yes,
it's a bit confusing.
yes, it is confusing because I'm talking about time management and I'm telling you it's a myth. But let me say something. Whenever we think of time management, we always think we don't have time. Okay? And that is the myth. It's the whole term time management doesn't make sense because no matter which human being you are, where you stay, which city, everybody has 24 hours. So technically, you're not supposed to manage your time. You're just supposed to manage yourself. You're supposed to coordinate yourself. So before you start managing your time, think that first, I need to coordinate myself in a way that I can do work in a systematic manner. All right?
Okay. Right.
Right. So that's first. Secondly, the I would say when you start, the first indicator or the first thing you do is, where am I wasting my time? Where am I procrastinating? Right? So Ananya, personally, could you give examples of where you would waste time to like and not do work?
I think social media would be one example which I think everybody could relate to.
Yes,
Randomly surfing reels or even
all the
memes.
time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think second would be Netflix or these online streaming
Yes.
platforms, watching web series and all continuously without looking at the time. That would be a place where I waste quite a
Yeah.
lot of time.
I feel like Netflix, Instagram, they are so addicting, and that's where
Right.
even me, same. I think most of us who are watching, guys, right? Just tell us. I think that's where all of us waste our time. Um, so the first thing I would do is identify where you're wasting time. And this correlates to the next point. When you make a schedule, everybody knows whenever they say time management, they say make a schedule. Make a schedule, make a timetable, and put slots of time and, organize yourself in that manner. But when people do this, they make one mistake. They make it impractical. They just put hours and hours together, and these hours are just full of work. That doesn't work. We all know, we've all been there, we've all made it a timetable. Within the first 2 hours, there's full on josh that we're going to do everything, but then we catch ourselves surfing the net, you know?
Right,
So
right,
I would suggest make your timetable. For example, you're working for 1 hour, keep 15 minutes aside for Instagram. Okay. Keep 30 minutes aside for lunch. If you're working for 2 hours, do 40 minutes. Like it should be a balance like that as well.
right.
So then you feel like, you're not being overburdened by work and the whole experience is not very dull. We don't want to continuously keep working. So I think someone had a question.
I think the question was what today's topic is about. So let me just, to
Yeah.
everybody who has just joined in, we're talking about time management today, and how you can manage your time in a more effective manner, and everything around that. And on that note, we just talked about where we waste our time a lot. So everybody who is watching, just drop a comment, let us know where you are also wasting your
Where you
time,
waste
because
time. Yeah.
yeah, it's good to identify that and then work upon it eventually.
Yes, yes. The first goal to getting over something is admitting that you're doing it.
Right,
So
right,
that is one key. The next, so yeah, make your schedule, give yourself that break. So so you can feel a little bit free when you're doing work. Second one that people don't do is there's no goal. A goal is something which you set yourself. Two things while keeping a goal when you're doing time management is make sure it is practical and make sure it is a goal that is relevant to your work. Okay. So, for example, I have 10 chapters to study for my college final exam. All right.
okay,
My goal for Saturday, okay, the whole of Saturday is to finish 6 chapters. Okay.
okay,
So are you understanding? It is a system. You make your goal, you make your schedule, and you identify your we call it personal time wasters. You
okay,
identify these personal time wasters and you form this whole system where your goal is achieved, you have free time, okay? And it's you have this whole system. Okay, I
right.
think someone has a question.
Yeah, the question is how to build discipline. I think the discipline of actually following the routine and sticking to your goal.
Right. So, how to build discipline, I would say, is you're in a professional position or if you're in college, whatever your deadline is important, right? So, I would say the only way to be disciplined is your own mental view on how you're looking at your project. So
Right,
many times I have looked at work that is given to me as something that I can do last minute. But the second you change your a view that this is something that's important, I need to give my 100% to this, your discipline will change. Another practical way of changing discipline would be sticking to a schedule, like I just said. The second you abide by the schedule and get used to abiding by the schedule, you will never drop the habit. The second you pick it up, you're never going to be that person that doesn't follow a schedule. So these are two things that I think you can do to maintain your discipline.
I think you
Okay?
can also treat yourself after you stick to a schedule, because that will give you that boost that okay, if
Right.
I stick to this, I'm going to have an ice cream.
Yes,
Something like that.
yes, exactly. So my next point was exactly what Ananya said. When it comes to time management, it is always good to reward yourself. And how do
Right.
you reward yourself? You need to set your goal. Like I said, it's all connected. After you set your goal and you've achieved your goal, so many people are joining in. Hi everyone. Please ask us questions. There's so many of you all here. Okay,
And
so
please
as
put
you
in your opinions and examples too. We would love to, read them.
yes, we would love to read your examples, your thoughts, everything. So, yes. So, like you said, reward, right? So, as you finish one of your goals, you reward yourself, have an ice cream. Another way of looking at it, another example of when people do this is when people work out, they go to the gym. They work out for 6 days. The seventh day, we eat whatever we want, right? That just makes us finish our goals faster and we look forward to the day where we get our reward. So it's the same system. Okay.
Right. Somebody is saying due to the pandemic, the mindset was changed. Focus regarding work was gone. So I think that's like an issue. How do we get over that?
Get over that. You are not alone. Let me say something. It is something that is so common, right? When we got used to the lockdown, we thought that this is our life. We can just chill and we don't have to do anything. And you're not being constantly monitored by whoever. You're not in that official setting. So that happens. All I can say is the reality is you need to work. That's the
Right.
reality. The reality is the situation of the pandemics, there is vaccination, everything, but it's not over yet. And
Right.
you need to get into a mode, and this is the new normal for now. So that's the only way. I think that's what helped me. Because when the pandemic hit, I was finishing school, high school. And that's not the time where I'm supposed to be distracted. Not at all. It
Right.
is one of the most important parts of my life. But it happened to all of us. But we just have to accept that this is how we have to study, this is how we have to do it.
Yeah,
Right?
you have to, I think, bounce back because
You have to bounce
everybody
back.
at some time was feeling low, but you need
Yeah.
to get over that. So there are,
Unmotivated, you have to get
yeah,
over
yeah,
it.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, a lot of people also ask this question regarding time management. They say, okay, you say, stay away from Instagram, do this, do that, switch off your phone, but I can't. I will always open Instagram. The solution, Ananya, did you know there are these new apps? Obviously, now there's an app for everything. We can
Right,
agree. We can do
right,
anything. But there are apps that help us manage our time and not be distracted. And what they do is they also kind of mute your social media, whichever apps you select. Okay, so there are
okay,
many apps on the App Store. Right, yeah. So you have an option to not receive calls from everyone. There's the basic, Apple has the basic feature where it's called Do Not Disturb. You don't get notifications or calls. But these apps, you can mute Instagram, you can mute Snap, whatever it is, and you can just put in your schedule in the app. So you can condition the app into your system. So for
okay,
example, yeah. So for example, I say that I have to study for 4 hours today. And I want every hour, I want a gap of 20 minutes to chill, do whatever I want, and then I want to go back into it. So the app has options to put in those little times where Instagram can be used for 20 minutes, and then it goes back into that mute mode. So guys, that's very useful.
okay,
I've used it personally many times. Please
okay.
suggest, I think just search on the App Store, Samsung, whatever you're using. I've used it on every device. So yeah, they really help.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's quite important as well because
Mm-hmm.
once we keep getting notifications, so I was even watching this Netflix documentary called The Social Dilemma.
Yes.
In
I
that,
know that.
like one of the main factors that they say we get distracted by is notifications because once we
Yeah.
hear that ding, we're motivated to see who messaged us or who
Exactly. It's
liked our
like a
post.
curiosity that we
Yeah,
have.
right.
So yeah.
So, like, once we shut that off, even if it is for a certain amount of time, certain period of
Mm-hmm.
time, that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be pretty amazing because you're not going to get distracted by that, and then you can, watch it again whenever you're free.
Yeah. Another thing that what people do is I don't suggest this method, but I thought that I should bring it up because people's self-control, the levels of self-control, guys, is different for everyone. You all know that as well.
Right, right.
I might have very less self-control, and Ananya, you might have a lot. I would suggest also just deleting the application. Delete it.
Right,
Just
right,
delete it. Um, or just put your device that has these applications. For example, I'm working on my laptop, Instagram, everything, Facebook is on my phone. Put your phone away. Just keep it away, hide it in a cupboard, lock it. What I used to do is when I used to study, I used to keep my phone in a cupboard, lock it, keep the key somewhere, so that when I get up to go check my phone, in my conscience tells me you're going to get up to do a big process just so you can look at nothing. Right?
right,
It's like a
right.
trigger on your conscience. Like, Are you have a deadline. Why are you going to do such a like tedious process to look at
Right,
social
right,
media? And it
right.
has worked wonders. Thank God for this for me. Oh, I can't even tell you.
Oh,
Like, thank God. Yeah, it's something
that's
that's worked a lot for me.
I'm
Yeah,
going to try it the next time I have
yeah,
a project with a deadline and I'm getting
yes,
distracted.
yeah. But guys, again, I don't suggest this because I suggest just the mental capacity to just accept that you have work and you can't. But I'm saying that, we have weekdays. We have days where we just can't. We can't work. We don't want to work. So you
Right,
could use this method. Yeah.
right. And you
Yeah.
can, some people even deactivate their account for some time, say if they
Yes.
have their exams, right? So that is
Yeah.
also something.
A lot of people deactivate as well. So you can do that as well. Another one is something that's also very useful, is that you put a limit on the time you take to finish a task. All right. So that would be like, for example, if we have a project to finish, now that can be done through the organization itself. They say you have a deadline, so they put a limit. But the thing is that this individual is giving you a deadline, but we have so many deadlines to meet. So technically, this individual is giving you one deadline, but as a person, I have 20 deadlines. So how do I work around that? So I suggest each project you put a time limit. Okay, so for example, you have four projects, different lengths of all. Your biggest project, you can say your biggest project, you say, okay, I will take 2 days for this. Okay, but this I will take only one day. All right. And then when you finish it in this given time period, give yourself a reward. But the second you limit your time, your deadline of, let's say your deadline is in 7 days. Your 20 tasks that are due in 7 days will get finished because you're making your own personal deadlines. So in your head, this point should just be, I'm going to make my own personal deadlines, and then I will altogether smoothly just give everyone what they want from me.
Right.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
have a question. How can I stop procrastinating? I think the whole session is around that only.
yeah.
Um,
But
you've
in
given,
one word,
yeah,
yes. But in one, if I have to summarize the solution, I would say look at what's making you procrastinate and just stay away from it. That's the only thing. Right? So there could be a situation where I have to submit something tomorrow and I just can't. Just throw it all away and just get to work. I would say just get to work. Um, Another solution that has worked is understanding the the problems that you will go through, the consequences of you not doing good work. Again, guys, I don't like these solutions that are slightly negative, slightly, but that these are the things that help, you know?
right, right,
So when we really think about what's at stake, don't you think, Ananya? Like that's when like reality hits, and we're like,
right,
okay, we could lose our job, like if this goes bad, or I could lose a very important grade, right?
right.
So yeah, I think the when you think about the consequences you have, based on something that you have to submit, I think that really helps. That really you really process like why you need to get this done on time.
I think
Yeah,
self-evaluation can also be taken into account here in the
yeah,
sense that, if I've been given a task that I have to do, um, I have to evaluate myself too in that sense that have I been able to finish this, or,
exactly.
was I not successful in that? So when you're evaluating yourself, that also gives you that motivation to do better.
Hmm.
um,
Or
it
possibly
may
change your schedule as well. That makes more
Right.
sense. What's more
We
practical.
have a comment, right? Setting a schedule to study for 3 to 4 hours in a day. I study hardly 1 hour. Later, I just procrastinate and waste my time. All right, so
Right.
I think this session is going to be very helpful for you because coach has already given us quite a lot of points. So if by chance you've missed them, don't worry. We're going to post this on IGTV after the live has ended, and stay connected with us for the next few points that coach is going to share with us. So I think that is going to help you.
All we can say is we've all been there and there's a
Right.
solution. Like I can personally say, like I have struggled with this, and there is always a solution to procrastinating, always. And if you watch this video, we will be uploading, you can see, like Ananya said. Um, okay, someone said I will need this lesson for my studies. That's very great to hear that they
Right.
said that.
I think
Um,
no matter where you
yeah,
are, if you're a student, I think you already said that if you're a student or even a working professional, time
yeah,
management is something that we have all failed to balance at one point or
yeah, it
another.
really is a
And
concern.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think if we are more aware about it, that's definitely going to make us more aware about the fact that we have to stick to this schedule for
Yeah.
whatever reasons.
Yeah. And I would also suggest a lot of another way to tackle time management would also be watching. This is when you're completely like demotivated. And we've all had those days where something in our personal life is just, we just don't feel good. And we don't have that enthu to do work, you know? So I would suggest also watching motivational videos. Um, there are
TED
so
Talk.
many on YouTube, TED Talks, motivational videos that question you while you're watching the video. And they, whenever you watch it, they first say, they're like, what are you doing right now? Well, what do you have to do? And these thought-provoking questions will lead you guys to a direction that is more positive, in the sense that you're going to get that motivation to do work. Time management is not only because social media is there and, oh, I'm just, it's also because emotionally we don't feel like we have the strength to finish something. There are days like that. So I think when you're in that place, everyone's been there. Everyone's been there. I think when you're in that place, YouTube, watch those videos and get a little bit of inspiration. Take a day. Yeah, okay. My next point is, sometimes when you're working too much, you're working constantly, you're always on the go. That's great. Take a break though. Like you need to take a break, because you're going to find yourself, you're going to keep working, and then you're going to find yourself getting tired, and you're getting frustrated, you're getting exhausted easier, you're getting, you're irritable. And the reason is because you're not taking a break. The second you take a break, 1 day break, you work 7 days a day, 7 days a week, 1 day you take a break, you feel rejuvenated and you feel like working again. Like I said, that break is also your reward, you
There's
know?
a comment which says, Coach, the problem is that I can't stop taking breaks.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I know the feeling. I think we all
Been
know the
there, done
feeling,
that.
right? Been there, done that. You're gonna get out of it though.
Right. I
Yeah,
think once
don't
you
worry.
start getting into the habit of it, it's not going to be easy. That's definitely not
Yeah,
something you're going to learn in a day or two.
yeah,
But you
yeah.
have to keep pushing yourself in order to actually achieve that balance, because it's something which, like everything, it takes practice, right?
It does, yeah. It takes practice. And there are a lot of people who haven't, a lot of people, the way they've been brought up, they haven't been shown the importance of time management and discipline, so it's harder for them. So that's also understandable. So these habits should, be a little bit like, they need to develop these habits within themselves because they haven't been taught.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, so it's very important. That's why we're doing these tips, because it's genuinely something that people don't have within themselves. Like it's just because there's so many distractions these days. So yeah. Um, all right.
Okay.
The next one. Is there a network issue? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, right. Okay. The last point, sadly, we're coming to our last point, but the last point is something that everyone fails to do. And a lot of research has been shown that this makes our lives easier. So, what it is research has proved that the reason why people procrastinate is because they are not organized. Right. So let me explain this. Like, Ananya, have you ever been in that situation where you're not doing something because something's not in place?
I think at times, yes.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to work. Even if I have to say organize the data in an organized manner. If it is haywire, if it is over the place and I cannot find what I'm looking for, I feel like giving up.
Yeah, I completely understand. And when we're already not in the mindset to work, it's like, I'll just do it later.
Right.
So
Right.
I've said that so many times. It's like, for example, guys, we had let's say you have to do a project, and you go and you see that all your papers and your pens are not there and it's disorganized and everything. So you're going to spend 20-30 minutes organizing that. And then when you said, okay, I'm going to start at 12 and it's 12:20, you'll say, okay, 12:30. Because everyone does that. They round it off to the next 10, right? I feel like
Right.
no
Right.
one does, like everyone. So you say, okay, I'm going to do it at 12:30. And then it's 12:30 and you're like, let's do
Oops.
it at 1. Then at 1, it's lunchtime. Let's do it at 2. 2, I'm sleepy. I'll do it at 5. That's how we procrastinate. So
Right.
be organized. When you know that you've made a schedule, you have these tasks, you have these deadlines, make sure everything is in order. Everything that is going to assist you in your project, in your work, needs to be there. For example, what slows me down is, let's say I have work and my device is not charged. It is just so annoying when that happens to me. I'm like, I just don't have the motivation because I need to get my charger, I need to get this, that, you know. So that's just an example. But yeah, I feel like this is one of the biggest reasons why this time management problem happens.
Right, and
Yeah.
I think we've all been guilty of it. That okay,
Yeah.
5 नहीं तो 6 बजे, 6
Yeah. Oh
7
my
I
God.
have to go out. I'll do it when
Yeah.
I come back, and then the next thing you know, you haven't done the work all day long. So
Yeah, it's just
yeah,
you. At the end of the day, you
everybody,
haven't done anything.
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody is going to relate to this point so much.
yeah, yeah. So I don't have anything else for you guys. If you have any more questions, please drop it. Otherwise, Ananya, it's up to you.
Yeah, so I think if anybody has any question, they can just drop it right now. If you have any questions which are coming up in your mind, but you're kind of hesitating or something like that, you can even DM us your queries. You can drop a comment, and our team is going to definitely revert. We're going to answer whatever queries that you have, and feel free to reach out to us. Also, feel free to drop us a DM, whether it is regarding time management or our courses, whatever it is. And don't hesitate, don't overthink. So, I guess nobody has a question right now. I think with that, we can conclude today's session. So, I'm just going to thank you, Coach. This was quite an informative session, and even though it's going to be really tough to actually stick to these points, I think if we try to build the habit, that's definitely going to help us in the long run. So
For
thank you for
sure, for
sharing.
sure.
Thank you for sharing these points, Coach. It was a great session.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'll see you next week. Okay,
Bye, Coach.
bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.